Welcome to Pagan Crafting. I'm your host, Kara. In this video, we're going to look at making divination ink from natural materials. We're going to be using anything from spices to vegetables, flowers, berries, mushrooms, coffee, different various teas, you name it, we're going to try it. We're going to power it up with some sigils, making some charcoal ink, and we're going to make our own divination bowl as well. Join me today as we make some magical ink. So what I've prepared here is 12 different swatches to show you the true color, 2 different types of paper I've also used here, and we can have a look at comparison for the streakiness, the colors, we'll go over it all. So the first thing here is I use as a white lace. This is its true color. And it turned out brilliant. This one is turmeric. This is a dipped cardstock paper, just to see how saturated it would get. Turned out quite beautiful. And this one is a watercolor paper, and it kind of turned out streaky. So maybe I did a couple layers, I tried, but it's still a little bit streaky with that one. Now this one here is paprika. A little bit streaky, a little bit gritty. But with the lace, it is gorgeous. Very, very beautiful color. Now this one is avocado. The one on the bottom is pink with a touch of the vinegar, and the one on the top is no vinegar, that's right. So each one of my items I added vinegar to, but the moment I added vinegar to this one, it changed the color immediately, and I wasn't prepared for that, so I decided to split it and make 2 of them. And it kind of dried green on that paper, but that's a different pH balance of the paper versus, again, this is like the natural color. This is dipped. This one here is blackberries. Brilliant, absolutely gorgeous. This one is purple cabbage. It turned out beautifully. It dried on the paper quite a blue, but to paint on it was beautiful with. Absolutely beautiful with. And the color is brilliant on the lace. This one here is butterfly PT. I used, these ones were quite a bit purple. The one on the left was the purple, the one in the middle is the blue, and this is the green, all from the same butterfly blue PT, I believe it's called. This one is mixed with mint, so I use mint leaves in this one. This one, you could add either lemon or a touch of vinegar to create purple, and the center one is the original color of the blue. I was quite pleased how the green turned out. This one here is chaga. I was making some chaga tea, so it's made from mushroom, and the color was quite dark, and I thought, hey, let's try it out, let's use it. This is coffee, but I used instant coffee, not a coffee grinds. I actually find the instant coffee to dye paper a lot nicer than even having to use a tea. Now I made this with charcoal from a fire pit, and we added some special ink to that one too to help it along, and it dyed the lace brilliant. I think I'm going to dye some clothing with it, see how it turns out. So that is all my colors that we are going to play with and learn about today. Berries, flowers, mushrooms, and more. So starting off with blackberries, it's pretty fun and pretty simple. Find some fruits, just experiment, have some fun with it. Now you want to fill up the water just a little bit above the berries or whichever food that you're using. You don't need to add a lot of water because you want this to be very consistent, very thick, and very saturated with the color. I'm just using a potato masher to get out to strain it at first. I really mashed it down throughout the boil. I brought it to a boil first, and then I turned it down to a very low, like out of 10, I'd be at a 3 or 4, kind of a very low medium heat. Butterfly pea tower, teas grown in Thailand. I made a larger pot because we drank the tea later. So normally I would not have put that much water in, but we were enjoying ourselves while making all this goodies. Oh, purple cabbage makes an absolutely blue dye as well. On fabric, it will remain purple, but on paper it will be blue. And I think eggs as well will also be blue if you're dyeing your Astara eggs. Again, just a bit of water that's just above the line of the vegetable to keep the dye nice and concentrated. Just a little bit above the line there. This one here is paprika with the blue. This one will be blue, the butterfly tea. This one is turmeric. It kept going into a paste, so I kept having to add water. The spices you only have to boil. I did a half an hour, but probably 15 minutes will do. The butterfly tea, I boiled it, actually at a hard boil, and I made a very, very dark blue, the darkest blue I've seen before. And the cabbage, I wound up boiling that for about an hour. And the blackberries, maybe only half an hour. I didn't do very, very long with that. And here is the blue. You can almost see the purple hue in it as well. Now, if you add lemon or lime, something citrus like that to it, it'll change the color. It'll change it to purple. If you add vinegar, boom, I just changed it to purple there. Just a nice deal. So I wasn't prepared for the vinegar to also change the color, but I should have known my chemistry and that would have been logical. But as you can see here, it's nice and purple, so I didn't have to put the lime or lemon in. I'm using the vinegar in all my jars so it'll help lock in the color, or else it won't hold into the fabric or paper or the egg if you're dyeing your Astara eggs with them. Now here I'm just using some mint tea. Just a plain old little mint tea bag. You don't even have to open up the bag at all. Just keep it in there, and it's going to turn now it green. Now everything else I've strained out into jars, but again, we're going to be drinking the tea later, so we're having that. But when it comes to the spices, I didn't use cheesecloth like everything else. I had to use coffee filters because, of course, the spices are so fine. This one here is turmeric. I had to add water a few times. It just makes into a thick paste. It'd be really good to make paint out of. Really, really, really good to make paint out of. And the other one, I found the paprika did nestle down a little bit faster than that. Now I'm gonna make some charcoal inks. I'm preparing some. I'm just outside because all that charcoal dust in my house, I really don't need it. So grinding it up outside. What I did first, I just really got down the little bits as fine as I possibly could, and then I separated it and I just ground it down even finer. Now this charcoal was from a friend's fire pit. It was a September full moon last year, and I think that's when we did our cord cutting ceremony as well. There's a video for that. That was a beautiful night. And what I did, I put a bundle of offerings. I did 2 of these offerings. This is sage, rosemary, and I think the other one had cedar in it. This was a picture from the fire from that night. That's the only one I didn't have any video of it, but the offerings were there. Now I've designed Strengthen My Divination Sigil. And I want to empower this charcoal ink up a little bit more. I'm going to be using this one for my main divination ink, and I'm going to be using the colors for my playful divination ink, and just kind of more paint with it and enjoy the colors versus my black ink here that I'm creating. This one is what I'm going to do a lot of my magic with, a lot of my work with. So we're going to add the ashes. Now I dyed this paper with coffee last year using the instant coffee, and I also used Earl Grey tea. As soon as the ashes will cool down pretty quick, you can mix it in. Now this is where I even brought down into a finer grind. I want it even finer, finer, finer. I ground up a bunch of that charcoal because I'm going to be making some more black salt. Because that hearth, that fire that night was beautiful. Just gathering some moon water. Might as well make it extra special, powered up, if you will. So if you do have some moon water or some collective, that'd be really amazing to use in your divination ink. So as fine as you can make your charcoal powder, that's going to be best for your ink. Now later on to this ink, I did add double that amount because I made about 9 bottles. Using some gum arabic here. First I'm starting off with a 1/4 teaspoon, and I go with 1/4 teaspoon intervals. I did overall use 1 teaspoon total, so 4 1/4 teaspoons, but I just put it in little bit by little bit. The gum arabic is made for like a watercolor, to thicken up your paint, to thicken up your paste. In this case, we're going to be thickening up our divination ink. I'm just pouring in a little bit at a time. I didn't pour the entire amount of all my water in at first because I want to just work on the lumps. It's just a little bit easier to get out. Sometimes the gum arabic can be with the powder can be a little bit lumpy at first, but it gets out in a few seconds. It's pretty quick. And then we can start adding more water. You can see the metallics of the charcoal. Oh, so pretty. So again, overall I used 1 teaspoon of gum arabic, and it was about 18 ounces of water, 4 teaspoons of charcoal, and you can see on its own it doesn't quite saturate the paper as way the other inks do. It was catching up the little bits of the charcoal. We're going to strain that off later. I'm going to use some cheesecloth here. Now this cheesecloth I bought, as you can see, it's not as dense as I've used before. I bought it at a different store and wasn't quite as happy with it, so I wound up having to do 2 strains just to see how much I could get off of it. I doubled it up, and I wound up doing a second pour to strain it. But look at all the metallics, all the beautifulness of the charcoal. Oh. So I'm just playing a little bit here. I'm just enjoying the little swirls of the metallics. Just enjoying that as well. So looking at with a paintbrush now, so you could see the consistency on its own. It is still very, very thin. It's not going to pick up a lot of the color. So I'm going to use some of my tattoo liner ink. I'm actually a master tattoo artist. I retired in 2018. But I still have some ink and it was expired, so I use it as a drawing ink now. It is brilliant. Realistically, I could probably still use it as tattooing ink, but there are expiry dates on ink, so you shouldn't use that in skin. So I thought I'd save it for a project, and I'm so glad I did. I'm putting in a 1/4 cup of ink. So that's about 2 ounces. And look how thick and beautiful it is. I've actually done some calligraphy with this ink as well, and it is brilliant. So giving it a little test page, look at that difference. Oh, it is so beautiful. What a gorgeous ink. Oh my goodness. It is going to be so exciting to draw, paint, use divination. I cannot wait to show you what it does in the water. It is so cool. Between the charcoal consistency and the tattoo drawing kind of the style of ink, it creates a separation and it creates a really amazing divination ink. You could also use a drawing ink. You can buy a drawing ink to mix with your divination ink too. I've made these little bottles here. You have to give it a good shake before use. I sell them on my Etsy store. If you don't have access to charcoal yourself, these are quite inexpensive. In the description or comments down below, I'll throw down a link to that. Now let's make a divination bowl. Super quick, super easy. We're gonna grab some ultra cover. It bonds to everything, plastic, ceramics, everything. You can grab a gold or silver or any type of metallic Sharpie pen. I wanted a white bowl because I want to be able to see the ink, but I couldn't find a black bowl with a white inside. So I'll make it myself. Dollar store bowl for $1.25. And I'm just gonna lightly spray the outside. And this spray paint dries so quick. This is about 15 minutes and it's good to go. I gave it an hour just so it won't be tacky or anything, and that's ready to rock. So I've decided to make it super easy. You can use a paintbrush and that too. The lines will be a little streaky. You'll have to go over 3 or 4 times, but if you use a Sharpie metallic pen, it's a 1 or 2 hit line. So I'm going to use all the zodiac and all the planetary symbols. So bringing in Aries first, I was trying to remember them all in order, then I had to kind of go back. Rocket and Taurus here. So some of these you got to go over twice, but most of the time with the Sharpie, you just have to go over it once. It's not bad on the spray paint. It's really, really good. It's not streaky. Goes on quite well. A little Leo love there. Little Cappy. Scorpio. Aquarius, Libra, Pisces, Cancer, Virgo, Sagittarius. I'm trying to name them all here. There's the sun, there's the moon. Oh, Uranus, Neptune. Oh, I missed how I went by too fast. Earth. Oh, Mars, Venus, Jupiter. I can't remember. Pluto, Saturn. A little touch up of, and then I'm gonna add some little stars. It looked kind of empty, so I'm just gonna throw down some stars in there, make it just super fun. And just play with it. Do whatever designs you like. Do a fat mandala on it. Do some cool witchy moons or a moon phases on here. There's all kinds of fun you can do with your divination bowl. That took a matter of a couple minutes for me to do, and the longest time was just waiting for the paint to dry. And that's ready to rock. Now, before you use your divination ink, you want to distress the water. Then I get a little swirl going. Shake your ink before using. 1 drop can do. I like to use a white bowl. Some people also use a black bowl. But I love this ink because, again, the consistency of the two between the charcoal and the tattoo ink, again, you can use a drawing ink, creates a really cool separation. You can almost see like the under over, how the one bit goes under the other ink, and it just creates like, what do you see? In the comments down below, join our community and tell me what you see in these bowls. My daughter was seeing wolves. I was seeing I was seeing an owl right now as we're cruising through, but you can see how I had to get in close. It is so beautiful. The things and the creatures and the things that you're gonna see, from letters, you name it. I'm seeing a lizard right now I didn't see before. And there's not just animals, but anything. You could look at this for hours and try. The divination possibilities are endless. Okay, I'm seeing a fox now being chased by the owl. That's interesting. I wonder what that means. I'll have to look that up. But it's just a fun little area. You can see how that one is forming. You can see how the ink rides underneath. Just beautiful, beautiful patterns this ink make. This is one of my best inks I've made. Now this is with the colors. So I was doing some divination with the colors. You can see in the bottom how, and then here I just wanted to see how the inks lay. This is a butterfly PT. See how blue and brilliant it is. This is blackberry. And this one, which one was this one? That might have been the purple cabbage, actually. So with divination with colors, can give you more of an art witchier flair, an art witch flavor and feel. You can have some fun with that. The blackberry, it looks quite red, but it turns into this luscious magenta. Butterfly pea, that one stays blue. And I've made so much fun. This is the 2 avocados, one with vinegar, one without. And on camera, it's hard to tell, but there is quite a difference there. That is the paprika, the turmeric. And these are all the butterfly teas I've made. I split them and made 3 different dyes. The instant coffee was so awesome to use. Chaga, I was surprised that it was quite dark, so happy with that mushroom. And here's my favorite charcoal divination ink. Oh, so let us have some fun and let's just check out how these all are in comparison. Starting off with the turmeric. The next is paprika. Avocado with vinegar, but it dried to a green. Avocado with no vinegar, dried to a brownish. Blackberry, gorgeous, but yet dyed to a bluish purple. Purple cabbage, that is brilliantly purple, also dried to a blue. Butterfly blue tea with vinegar, dried to a bluish green. Butterfly blue with no vinegar, remained blue color. Now this one was with mint tea, and it remained green when it dried. This one is chaga. I did put vinegar in that one as well. Now coffee stayed brilliant just on its own. And the ink charcoal. Oh, brilliant. Just brilliant. Now what I've done with the ink charcoal, I did add, remember the gum arabic with it, but I didn't add that into my other natural inks. I only added the vinegar to hold those inks. Now you could also use this as a magical ink for your writing in your Book of Shadows. I found it quite nice and easy to use. Well, thank you so very much for joining me today. As always, it is cool. Join me down in the comments below with my community and let me know what you're going to use your divination ink for, whether it be writing, drawing, painting, in a bowl in water. There's so many endless possibilities that you can do with your magical ink. Let me know what you're going to do with it, and I would love to hear about it. Have yourself an absolutely magical day. Throw me down a little like up, ring that bell so you know when the next video comes out, and subscribe for more fun.